You know that feeling when you step outside and the air just feels different? That crispness of autumn or the first fresh scent of spring? The seasons totally change our mood and our energy. So what if your website could do the same thing? What if it could actually change and breathe right along with the world your visitors are living in?
And that brings us to the big question, right? Is your digital presence a classic, timeless masterpiece? Or is it more like a monument that's just kind of stuck? In this explainer, we're going to dive into this really cool concept of seasonal web design and see how tuning into nature's rhythm can completely transform your site.
Okay, so let's get right into it. You might be thinking, why even bother? My site works perfectly fine. But the value here isn't just about making things look pretty. Nope, it's actually deeply connected to human psychology and how we all engage with the digital world.
This is really the heart of it. A seasonal shift, even a super subtle one, is a powerful signal. It tells everyone who visits that you're paying attention, that your brand is active and in sync with what's happening. And for someone who comes back to your site, it's this delightful little surprise that makes a normal visit feel like a moment of discovery.
And what's so fascinating is there's actual science behind why this works so well. It's called the biophilia hypothesis, which is a fancy way of saying we're basically hardwired to connect with nature. So when a website mirrors the natural world, the hope of spring or the energy of summer, it just clicks with us on a subconscious level, creating a much deeper, more natural connection.
So what do you actually get out of doing this? Well, there are 4 big benefits. First, it just makes for a better user experience. That novelty keeps people engaged. Second, it really improves how people see your brand. It shows you care about the details. Third, you forge that deeper emotional connection we were just talking about. And finally, all these positive signals, like people staying on your site longer, can actually give you a nice little bump in your SEO rankings. It's a win-win.
All right, let's get practical. Probably the easiest and most impactful way to start is with color. So let's break down the vibe and the specific color palettes for each of the 4 seasons.
For spring, you want to think renewal, new beginnings. The colors are light, they're airy, they're delicate. We're talking soft pastels, like a gentle mint green, a nice lavender, or that pale yellow of the early morning sun. These are colors that just feel hopeful and fresh.
Then summer hits with this huge burst of energy. The whole palette shifts to be way more exuberant and bold. Think about the vibrant blue of the ocean, the intense yellow of the sun at noon, and those deep, lush greens you see everywhere. These colors are all about warmth and action and just being out there. In autumn, the mood gets all cozy and a little more thoughtful, and the colors do the same thing with this rich, earthy palette. We're looking at deep oranges, muted reds, golden yellows, and rich browns. These tones just feel so warm and comforting, kind of like the harvest season itself. And finally, winter brings this quiet, reflective beauty. The palette here is this amazing mix of cool, crisp colors like icy blues and whites with these warm, elegant accents. Think of a deep burgundy for warmth, a little silver for a touch of magic, and some cozy neutrals that just invite you to slow down and relax.
But look, a great seasonal theme is so much more than just color. To create an experience that people really feel, you've got to weave that theme through your images, your fonts, and even your animations.
So for spring, this means using images of blooming flowers or new buds on trees. Your typography should feel light and airy. And for animation, you want to think subtle. Maybe some gentle growth effects or movements that feel like a soft breeze, making the whole site feel like it's waking up.
For summer, you just crank up the energy. Use vibrant pictures of sunny beaches or people having fun outside. Your fonts can get bolder, a little more playful, and the animations can be more dynamic, like energetic page transitions or maybe a subtle shimmer that looks like sunlight hitting water.
For autumn, we want to create that super cozy feeling with imagery of falling leaves or warm, inviting rooms. The typography can shift to classic serif fonts that feel more traditional and rustic. And a really simple animation, like a single leaf falling in the background, can add that perfect little touch of atmosphere.
In winter, you can go for a really magical feel with images of snowfall or starry skies. Typography should be really crisp and clean. This is key, to make sure it's super readable against lighter backgrounds. And animations can be subtle and elegant, like a gentle snowfall or a little sparkle effect.
Okay, this all sounds awesome, right? But how do you actually do it without creating a total technical nightmare? Let's look at the methods and, probably more importantly, the things you absolutely want to avoid.
There are actually a few different ways you can pull this off. You can use code like CSS and JavaScript to automatically switch up the styles. You could have your server send different files depending on the date. Or, even easier, you can use built-in tools and plugins on platforms like WordPress or Shopify. It really just depends on your setup,
But the point is, it's totally doable.
Now, this slide might be the most important one of all, because the key to everything is one word: subtlety. A tasteful little color shift or a single elegant icon can be incredibly powerful. What you want to avoid at all costs is a complete jarring overhaul that just distracts from your message. Remember, the goal is always to enhance, not overwhelm.
And here are a few other huge traps to watch out for. First, your seasonal theme has to be an extension of your brand, not a replacement. Also, remember that your audience might be on the other side of the world where it's a completely different season. Test everything, I mean everything, before it goes live. And most importantly, always check your color contrast to make sure your site stays accessible for everyone. So where does all this go from here? Well, this whole concept of an adaptive living website is really just the beginning of a much bigger trend.
I mean, just imagine a travel website that doesn't just adapt to winter, but adapts to the light snow that fell in your specific city this morning. Or a local news site that subtly changes its theme to reflect the town's cherry blossom festival for that one week. With AI, personalization could get so detailed that these changes are tailored not just to the season, but to your individual tastes. The possibilities are, honestly, they're so exciting.
This quote just perfectly wraps up everything we've been talking about. We're moving away from the idea of a website as some static, fixed building, and more towards the idea of it as a living, breathing space that connects with us on a really human level. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a good look at your own website. Is it reflecting the dynamic, changing world your users experience every single day? Or is it just stuck in a single moment? Maybe it's time to let the seasons in and create a space that feels truly alive.